What's up, HyperFast Nation? Welcome to this episode of the podcast. Today is part 2 in a 3-part series on 9 ways to generate leads during a shifting market. This is a new type of format we're doing for this show. We've done nearly 400 episodes where I've interviewed top agents, investors, business leaders, and we're bringing in a new format. We're not replacing the old one. We're just adding some new types of shows to it, where I'll be bringing you some of the latest and greatest real estate advice and strategies that we are implementing in our business today. Stand by for part 2 in 9 ways to generate leads during a shifting market. All right, welcome back to the series on 9 ways to generate leads in a shifting market. So hopefully by now you are fully aware and know and aren't sticking your head in the sand on this reality that the market has shifted. There's less transactions, right? There's more inventory, and you got to get back to the basics. So we are giving you 9 ways to generate more leads, and this is part 2. In part 1, I covered a couple different ones just to review. The first one was expireds and withdrawns, to go back to those expired, withdrawn phone calls and marketing techniques. Number 2 was repeat and referral clients, so doing more for your past clients to get repeat business and referrals. And then number 3 was corporate relocations, right? Because people still need to move for a job. So I know there's less move-up buyers now, but there's still a lot of people moving because of a job. So number 4 that I'll be covering today is investors. All right, I know a lot of real estate agents, for some reason, don't like working with investors, and I've always kind of been puzzled by that. To really, be frank, because investors are repeat clients. If you learn what their criteria is, their strategy is, and you can deliver a solution, and they're likely going to buy from you every year or maybe every month, depending on how big they scale, right? So I think a lot of real estate agents, though, it's just a challenge for them to either to learn something new or to deal with a more analytical mindset as opposed to emotional, because when you're buying for your own residence, it's more emotional. I think investors tend to be more analytical. So for whatever reason, a lot of agents struggle with this, but these are good clients. These are repeat clients. And I think especially now with the market shift, there could be more investors coming in, getting better deals. There's more inventory, so there's more to choose from. So, if I were you, I would learn a niche, right? Maybe it's long-term rentals. Maybe it's short-term rentals. We've seen a lot of those, pop up in the last couple of years. A lot more short-term rental investors. It could also be flips. A couple different ways to get good at these, I think, and find the clients, I think. Get in the online communities. There's a ton of online communities involving investors. There's also local real estate meetup groups, right? These groups meet monthly or quarterly. They typically have someone that's teaching a different type of investment strategy or part of the process at each meeting, plus a lot of time to network. And these meetings typically bring a lot of investors, private lenders, all sorts of different people, contractors, right? And the more the more you can add value. Even if you don't meet an investor there, if you meet a good hard money lender, a good contractor, now you can pair them up with one of your investors that and you're offering more solutions for them. So, really put the time into learning about different investment strategies and how to provide solutions for investors, and you could get repeat clients. First-time home buyers. I think this is an area that sometimes people overlook. All right, I think we're going to see more first-time home buyers. I know it's a little bit harder for buyers, with interest rates going up, but conversely, rents are going up, right? So I've seen rents go up 15, 20% a year in some situations. So, even though a buyer might get in at 6.5%, right, as opposed to 3%, it still could be a lot cheaper for them when you look at the overall package to own than to rent, especially if they're going to be there for 2 or 3 years, right? So, look at ways to add webinars or seminars. We used to do these weekly or at least twice a month. And again, it became a really good pillar of business for our real estate team. We would get 1 or 2 clients every time we did one of these. And the first one wasn't that great. Our presentation wasn't that good. This is like 4 or 5 years ago now. We had a lot less people show up than registered, but then as you do them and get consistent, you'll figure out the best times to do them, the best ways to get people to actually show up after registering, the best ways to reach out to people that register, because even if they register and don't show up, that doesn't mean you can't get them as a client in the future, because now they're in your database, right? So look at doing first-time home buyer seminars and webinars and stay consistent with it, right? Don't get frazzled by the higher interest rates. And remember, the interest rate on rent is 100%, all right? So be frank with your first-time home buyers. Have these conversations with them and educate them. And again, if they're going to be there 2 or 3 years, it's going to be a lot cheaper in most circumstances to own than to rent. All right, the next type of lead that I think you should focus on right now, so this is number 6, and the last one for this episode is rightsizers, all right? So what rightsizers is another term we use for downsizers. And for many of them, it's a lateral move. It could be going from a house to a townhome or condo, something with less maintenance, right? These people are typically motivated more by circumstance, less by financial decisions. A lot of times it could be a lateral move or even a lower price point. And I think this group is going to be less affected by interest rates because they typically have been in a house for a decade, maybe a couple decades. They've got a lot of equity built up. So they could be moving into a situation where they have a very small loan, or maybe it's an all cash deal and they don't have a loan at all. So reach out and come up with marketing campaigns to get the attention of rightsizers. And this is the 6th one we've covered. You don't have to do all of these, but pick a couple of them and really master it. And make sure you stick around for part 3, where we'll be going over the 7th, 8th, and 9th way to generate more leads in a shifting market. And thank you for tuning into this podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave us feedback, give us a comment, share with other people, and let us know what types of topics you would like us to cover in the future. And a real quick special message to real estate agents out there. If you want to learn more about joining my group at EXP, right now we are expanding rapidly. As a member of my group at EXP, you get access to 2 nationally recognized coaching programs. We give you the tools and training to recruit so that you can build recurring revenue through the revenue share program, and you get to be a part of the fastest growing company in the history of real estate. If you're interested in that, I would be honored if you would reach out to me. You can text me on my cell phone at 703-638-4393, and I'll see you next time.